One of the most beloved characters in Dogman is Big Jim. He's the cutest purple kitty in the whole world. But do you know the full story behind this character, all the way up to when he becomes a superhero? Big Jim makes his very first appearance in Dogman 1, the book that kicks off the story of the crime-fighting dog. When the main character locks Petey up in cat jail, the purple cat is already behind bars. The truth is, Petey had already known Big Jim for a while, but fans wouldn't find that out until later. Up until that moment, everyone thought they were just cellmates. But Dave Pilkey, the creator of Dogman, was setting up an emotional surprise. In the live-action movie, we get to see some scenes from the comics where Dogman arrests Petey for the first and second time. In the books, the villainous cat actually uses Big Jim as a weight on a seesaw. Petey asks the purple cat to jump on the other end, and that way he launches himself over the wall and escapes prison. There's also a birthday scene for Big Jim in the movie, and during it, Petey steals the balloons the prison warden gave Big Jim as a gift. Petey's plan is to use those balloons to float away, but in the comics, the scene plays out differently. Petey tells Big Jim he buried a present and asks him to hold the balloons while he digs up the surprise. Back then, Petey was still evil because while he floated away with the balloons, Big Jim found out what was buried in the kitty litter box. It was poop. Today, you're getting a gift too. We're gonna tell you the full story of Big Jim, so grab your popcorn because another Cinewave is about to begin. Big Jim's biggest transformation happens in Dogman issue 8, when the purple kitty is hypnotized into thinking he's a superhero named Commander Cupcake. But this story starts way earlier. Do you know the Fleas? They're a gang led by the villain Piggy. His henchmen are Bub, a crocodile, and Chunky, a gorilla. These two bad guys want to play a prank on Big Jim, so they hypnotize him into believing he's a superhero. Funny enough, this is the same origin story as Captain Underpants, who was hypnotized by George and Harold. But in Big Jim's case, the Fleas take it even further. The Purple Kitty, or rather Commander Cupcake, builds a special vehicle called the Cupcake Mobile, which is clearly a parody of Batman's Batmobile. The big problem is that the Cupcake Mobile is literally just a decorated cardboard box. In other words, it's totally useless, except for carrying sweets, and that's what makes it so funny. But the joke didn't go as planned for the villains, because now the Purple Kitty had become a superhero who protects the city with love and kindness. Big Jim was taking his first steps toward becoming one of the most important characters in the franchise, and soon, you'll find out how that happened. Big Jim also has another identity that appears in Dogman Grime and Punishment, which is the 9th comic book in the Dogman series. In this adventure, Grandpa, Petey's father, ends up in cat jail too and becomes Big Jim's cellmate. Grandpa is known for being super evil, and what he does next is seriously dangerous. He creates a machine called the Brain Duker, which can change your mind and your body by amplifying all the emotions inside you. It's kind of like Marvel's Incredible Hulk. Grandpa had no idea how powerful the machine really is, so he asks Big Jim to test it first. And since the Purple Kitty is such an innocent and sweet character, he agrees. That's the moment Big Jim transforms into a character named Snug, a muscular cat who loves giving people warm hugs. That's all well and good, except getting hugged by someone super strong can cause accidents. And on top of that, Snug is super clingy. Like, all he wants to do is hug people all day long. Grandpa finally realizes how powerful the Brain Duker is, and when it's his turn to try the machine, Petey's dad transforms into Crud, who's the total opposite of Snug, a terrifying villain who threatens everyone. It's very possible we'll see this version of Big Jim in the next Dogman movie, but what do you think? Do you prefer Snug or Crud? Drop a hashtag Jim in the comments so we can connect. For a long time, Big Jim was seen as a cute background character, someone people thought didn't really matter. But in reality, he's a cat who's deeply connected to Petey's life. It all began when he was known as Little Jim, back when he was just a kitten. In this story, told in Dogman Volume 12, we found out that when Crud abandoned the family, Petey ended up living at an orphanage called Happy Home Shelter. That's where Petey and Little Jim first meet. And since the Purple Kitty was also an orphan who had lost both parents, Petey's mom decided to take care of him, which means the two cats aren't just old cellmates, they're adopted brothers. Their bond is way stronger than most people realize, and that's why the mean stuff Petey used to do to Big Jim was honestly awful. Thankfully, the orange cat eventually regretted it.
Never.
Up until Dogman issue number 12, no one really knew Big Jim's backstory, other than the fact that he was an orphan kitten who met Petey as a kid. But in Dogman 13, which came out this year, a lot of mysteries were finally revealed. The story is called Big Jim Begins, and in this one, the Purple Kitty is the main character. In this comic, we learn a heartbreaking truth, exactly how Big Jim became an orphan. The first thing you need to know is that Big Jim calls his parents Mommy and Daddy, and that's totally normal since most people do the same. But what many people don't realize is that the Purple Kitty probably doesn't even remember their real names. He was super young when the accident happened, and here's the second thing you need to know. Big Jim's parents died in a terrible car crash. They were taken to the hospital, but didn't survive. And as Big Jim himself explains, they went to heaven. It's a very sad story, but what if we told you there's an even bigger mystery behind it? During one of Big Jim's flashbacks, we found out that his parents had received a very special letter. It was a message from the alien eye, a super powerful creature from outer space. The letter said that the person who possessed the Ring of Destiny was the Chosen One, and that this person would save the universe from a massive threat in the future. Now pay close attention, because this whole thing is one big mess. Big Jim's parents got the letter from Grandpa Crud. That's because the alien eye gave the ring to him, thinking Petey's dad would pass it along to the rightful Chosen One. But instead, Grandpa Crud used the ring to propose to Grace, Petey's mother. Meanwhile, Crud left the alien's letter with Big Jim's parents. And all of this happened when the Purple Kitty was still just a baby. You see where we're going with this? The tragedy behind Big Jim's parents' accident might actually be connected to that letter. What if the big universal threat found out Big Jim was the Chosen One? And to stop him, the villain decided to take out the Purple Kitten before he ever had a chance to grow up. That theory actually makes a lot of sense, and we're about to explain why right now. Out of everything you've ever heard about Big Jim, we're sure your biggest question is this: why is he in jail? Dogman, Little Petey, and Big Jim are the last characters you'd expect to be behind bars. They're the purest and most innocent heroes in the whole franchise, but Big Jim is in jail. Why? According to the official story, he was arrested for stealing a donut from a store, but let's be clear, that makes zero sense. Sure, taking stuff without permission isn't cool, but if you pay attention, Big Jim was thrown in with some of the worst villains out there, guys who nearly destroyed the city. Whatever Big Jim did wrong doesn't come close to what Petey, Flippy, or Piggy have done. Our theory? The Purple Cat is in jail because the universe's big bad guy wants him there. If Big Jim really is the Chosen One, the one meant to have the Ring of Destiny, and if the car crash that killed his parents was a setup, then it makes total sense that Commander Cupcake is locked up by some villain trying to keep him out of the way. One clue that this might be true is the fact that Big Jim shared a cell with Petey and Grandpa Crud. If you remember the kitty's backstory, you'll notice the Ring of Destiny disappeared after Petey's dad took it to propose to Grace. The last person to see Grace alive was her son, which means the magic ring is probably hidden somewhere the Petey family's been. Someone in the shadows may have set up a lie just to make sure Big Jim ended up in cat jail with those villainous cats, hoping to find out where the ring went. Another clue is that Big Jim can leave cat jail whenever he wants, and yet he always comes back. If he really was a criminal, which he's clearly not, then how is he sneaking out of prison every night to fight bad guys as Commander Cupcake? You get it, right? Big Jim knows a secret way to get in and out of jail, even if it's totally illegal. You know what's not illegal? Subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. Big Jim is definitely part of the reason Petey became a better person. Sure, the biggest influence was Lil Petey, but the Purple Cat had a role in that journey too. Let's not forget that they met as kids and have been friends ever since. Big Jim was Petey's cellmate and stood by him during every prison-wide cat strike. Big Jim always reminds Petey of who he used to be, an innocent little kitten with a good heart. And he's the kind of cat who's kind to everyone in jail. Inside cat jail, Big Jim is a source of comfort. That's one of the biggest reasons he exists as a character, but not the only one. He also pushes evil away. During Big Jim's adventures in Dogman 12 and 13, we learned that he battled and defeated the Fleas, led by Piggy, and also the Space Cuties, a group of alien villains trying to turn everything into cutesy versions of themselves. Big Jim's future looks super bright because he's definitely going to get out of jail and join Dogman in the fight against evil. You'll get to see that story on November 11th, 2025 when the 14th Dogman comic officially comes out. Until then, we've got 2 more awesome videos for you to enjoy. See you in the next one. Later.